Okay, so hello everyone. Today we are going to study about the mobilization based upon the convex concave rule. So before going to know about the convex concave rule, there are two terminology that we should know. The first is osteokinematic and the second is arthrokinematic. So as you see on the screen that osteokinematic is made by osteo plus kinematics. Osteo means bone, kinematics means study of motion. So osteokinematics is study of motion that happen at the bone level. Okay, and arthrokinematic, what is the arthrokinematic? That movement of bone that happen at the joint level. Arthrokinematic is made up of arthro plus kinematics. Arthro is joint and kinematics is study of motion. The motion that happen at the joint level is what? Arthrokinematics. After that, there are two or three more terminology. Like first is what is rolling, gliding or sliding. Some book say it gliding. Some book will say this motion as a slide. So rolling, gliding or sliding, and third is spin. So what is rolling? As you can see in the image, that rolling is one joint surface is rolling on the another in a certain direction. The rolling happen. And what is sliding? The translatory motion. Gliding or sliding is a translatory motion that one surface slide on the another surface. And what is rolling? Rolling is कि one joint surface roll on another in a specific direction. So these few terminology: osteokinematic, arthrokinematic, rolling, and gliding. We should know about four terminology. And remember one thing: rolling and gliding both happen at the joint level. We can't see with our naked eyes where is rolling happen and how the bone roll. We can just feel the movement. We can't see the rolling and gliding with our eyes. Okay, osteokinematic is the movement of bone. Like I'm doing the elbow flexion. My forearm is moving and radius and ulna is moving, and this is the osteokinematic. My bone is moving, reflection, extension, but the accessory movement that happen at the joint that happen at the joint level means when I do the wrist flexion and extension, the scaphoid is moving on radius or radius moving on ulna. There is certain movement happen at the joint level, that is rolling or gliding, that happen at the a joint level, or arthrokinematic, that is related to more arthrokinematics. Now, the first is what is convex concave rule. So, for convex concave rule, we know about one thing: what is concave, what is convex. Concave is like this. Like this, you can see in the mirror the concave cave, like this depression. This is concave. The depression, hollow or rounded inward surface is concave, and the opposite of concave is convex. So first we learn about what is concave and what happen if concave surface is in the movement process. So what is concave? The hollow rounded inward motion is concave. So and this is convex. The opposite of concave is convex. So when concave on convex means when concave surface is moving on convex surface. So what happen? Rolling and sliding happen in the same direction. Means concave. Cave means cave is in a similar to same. So concave, cave, same. Concave, cave, same means rolling and gliding happen in the same direction. Okay. For example, if a moving surface is concave, that slide occur in the same direction as the rolling. Both are in the same direction. For example, a concave on convex is elbow flexion. Roll and sliding both occur anteriorly. That we'll learn later how this elbow flexion, I will explain what happened at the rolling and gliding. But first we need to know about what is concave convex rule and what happen if concave surface is moving on convex. So concave, cave means same. If concave is moving, means rolling and gliding occur at the same direction. Now what happen if convex is moving? So as I said, this is concave, depression, same. Now the opposite is convex. curved or rounded outward part is convex, like this. This is convex. This is convex. Okay. So what happens when convex is moving on concave? So gliding occur in the opposite direction. Convex. O. Convex. O opposite. When convex is moving, the rolling and gliding happen in the opposite direction. Okay. If a moving surface is convex on concave, then sliding occur in the opposite direction of rolling. Okay, so these are the concave, convex rule. Concave, when concave is moving, cave same. Rolling, gliding happen at the same level. When convex, opposite. Convex is moving on concave, then rolling and gliding occur at the opposite level. So these are two main points of convex, concave rule. Now let's take before this, osteo means bone. Remember, osteo means bone, and rolling and gliding occur at the arthrokinematic level, at the joint level that we can't see. So we will give the joint if we want to increase the motion. For example, my shoulder abduction is limited at this level. I want to increase my abduction. Then I have to give glide that happen at the joint level. Means if for example, if rolling and sliding occur in inferior direction, then I need to glide in the inferior level. So slide, don't confuse with sliding and gliding. Okay. Glide is glide. We have four or five grades of gliding. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 is thrust. So we have, the therapist has to give the glide in a certain direction to increase the range of motion so that patient have full range of motion. So osteo means bone. When I'm moving my hand, I'm moving this movement, that is osteokinematic. My bone is moving. This is osteokinematic. When the therapist is giving glide, that is at the joint level that I can't see. You can't see my rolling and sliding direction. Okay, so these two movement. So you now you learn about three terms. First is osteokinematic, arthrokinematics, and convex concave rule. Now let's talk about the shoulder joint. Shoulder joint means, first, shoulder joint is a complex joint. So we are breaking the shoulder joint first in the glenohumeral joint. Glenohumeral joint. Gleno means glenoid fossa, glenoid, concave. Okay. Humerus. This you can see the head of the humerus is outward like this. Okay, so when any movement I do, the flexion, extension, internal rotation, external rotation, that happen at what level? Shoulder. Who is moving? Who is moving? Is like this. I'm doing the abduction, I'm doing the adduction, I'm doing the rotation. Who is moving? This head, humeral. Humerus head is moving on where? Glenoid. So convex, like this. This is my shoulder joint. Convex with adduction. Convex is moving on concave. Convex. Opposite. Then rolling and gliding are going to be in the opposite direction. Okay. Glenoid is concave. Humerus is convex. So remember, convex is moving. My humerus is moving. Glenoid is in the stationary position. Okay. So there are few movements that happen at the glenohumeral joint. The first is flexion. Okay, look, I'm doing the flexion. This is flexion. Now you tell me, my osteo bone, where is moving? My osteokinematic, my bone, my arm is moving anteriorly. My bone, I'm doing this. My flexion, I'm doing flexion. My bone and these bone is moving in the anterior direction. So rolling and gliding are going to be happen in the opposite surface because convex is moving on concave. So which glide I should give to the patient to increase the flexion? Posterior. Okay, because my arm is moving anterior. So rolling and gliding on the opposite direction. So I have to give glide posteriorly to increase the shoulder flexion. Now let's talk about shoulder abduction, abduction. Okay, shoulder abduction. Now do the abduction and tell me your arm is moving in what direction? With abduction, I'm moving my arm in towards the ceiling, towards the superior direction. So, which glide I should give to the patient to increase the abduction? Inferior. Okay, my arm is moving superior towards the ceiling, and I know my convex is moving, my humeral head is moving, convex is moving, convex, oh, opposite. So the glide is inferior. Now let's talk about extension, shoulder extension, like this. So stand or in the sitting position, you do the extension, shoulder extension. So which direction you are moving your arm? Posteriorly. I'm moving my arm posteriorly for the shoulder extension. So which glide I should give? Anterior. Okay. My arm is moving in the posterior direction. I know my humerus convex is moving. So I should give anterior glide for to increase the shoulder abduction. Now we have two rotation, internal rotation and external rotation. Now I keep my arm at the neutral level. This is my neutral, no internal or no external rotation. So when I'm moving my arm in forward direction, in anterior direction, that is internal rotation. And when I'm moving my arm posteriorly, that is my external rotation. Okay, so now neutral, I'm doing internal rotation. Tell me in which direction you are moving your arm. Internal rotation, I'm moving my arm in the interior direction, like this, forward towards the wall. So which glide I should give? So first, let's see, first step is move your arm. I'm moving my arm in the interior direction. Now think about whether it is convex or concave. The joint happen at the glenohumeral joint. As I know, my humerus is convex, oh, opposite. So gliding is in the rolling and gliding in the opposite direction. So which glide I should give? Posterior. Anterior, the opposite of anterior is posterior. For internal rotation, I should give the posterior glide. Now I come to the neutral. Now I'm doing the posterior external rotation. So think which direction my arm is moving? Posterior direction. Okay. So now the second step, whether it is convex or concave, the movement happen at the glenohumeral joint, and I know that my humerus is convex is moving on concave, convex opposite. So I'm giving the opposite direction. So posterior, my arm is moving posterior, so opposite of posterior is anterior. So I should give the anterior glide to the patient to increase the external rotation. So you have three steps you need to be remember to think in the mind which glide I should give to the patient to increase their range of motion. First, move your arm and think which direction your arm is moving. If it is moving in anterior or posterior, superior, inferior. Then second step, think about which joint is moving. Whether it is a shoulder joint, the movement happen at the glenohumeral joint. Whether it is a knee joint, the movement between the tibia femur, the movement between the humerus and ulna or radius and ulna, what happened? Think and then do the opposite. If it is convex, vex, opposite. If it is concave, cave, same, then joint movement happen at the same level. Now, the second part of shoulder joint is this clavicle, the sternoclavicular joint. Okay, sternoclavicular joint, and we know that which our movement happen at the sternoclavicular joint. So when we are doing abduction, my clavicle is elevated. When I'm doing adduction, my clavicle is going down. So place your finger on the clavicle. Place your finger. I'm doing my right side movement. So place your left index finger on your clavicle. That is my neutral. I'm doing nothing. Now move your arm in the abduction direction like this. And can you see? Earlier my finger was here at this level, and when I'm doing it moves in this direction. With abduction, my clavicle move upward. Okay, and when I'm doing the downward direction, adduction, my clavicle move slight depressed. My clavicle goes in slight downward direction. Okay, so upward direction, abduction, elevation, going down with adduction, depression of the clavicle. Okay, now we have two more, protraction and retraction. Now same, place your left index finger on the clavicle and do the protraction. Protraction is forward movement of the shoulder joint, protraction. So when you do the protraction, you feel that your finger is moving anteriorly like this. anteriorly. And when I'm doing the retraction, moving my shoulder in the backward direction, my finger is moving posteriorly, means clavicle go in the backward direction. So with elevation, clavicle go upward. With downward, clavicle come downward direction. With protraction, I'm doing the protraction, moving my shoulder anteriorly, so clavicle comes anteriorly. When I'm going in the posterior direction, clavicle goes in the posterior direction. That is protraction means anterior, clavicle is coming anterior, and with retraction, clavicle is going on posterior direction. Okay, so first is elevation and depression. So there is one exception with the sternoclavicular joint. So when the clavicle is moving in elevation and depression position, so as we know that the clavicle is moving because sternum is not going to move anywhere. Sternum has it a fixed joint position. Clavicle is the bone only, the clavicle is moving. So when we doing the elevation, the clavicle is convex. You can see when this the convex part, this is the convex, the clavicle, the clavicle, the this part is moving when we do the what we call superior or inferior, means when we doing the abduction and the adduction. And when we are doing the protraction and retraction, the clavicle is concave, means the concave part is moving on convex sternum. So just remember, with elevation and depression, the convex clavicle, the convex part of the clavicle come in the movement with concave sternum. Okay, so and you have you are maybe you see the some patient have this range of this movement, and I don't and we don't know what happened. Thus now the glen I give all the mobilization. I mobilize the glen, I mobilize the thoracic joint, I give the strengthening, strengthening, inferior, posterior, all the glide I have given. Then still we have lack of some motion. 10 to 15 degree is limited. Why? Because we not try to mobilize our clavicle. We not give mobilization at the sternoclavicular joint, acromoclavicular joint. So, so to gain that end range of motion, we need the motion so that our clavicle will freely move with abduction, with downward direction, protraction, retraction. Okay, so with protraction and retraction, and you tell me with protraction, my convex clavicle is moving on concave sternum. Convex part of clavicle is moving on concave sternum. So elevation, you see my finger is moving in the upward direction. Now which glide I should give to increase the abduction at the sternoclavicular joint? Give inferior glide. Inferior, because concave part of clavicle moving. Convex. Opposite. Okay. So with for elevation, to increase the elevation, to increase the end range of abduction, I should give sternoclavicular joint. Which glide? Inferior glide. I should give inferior glide at the sternoclavicular joint to increase the abduction, to increase the elevation of the shoulder joint. And the opposite of elevation is depression. And you see, with depression, my finger is moving downward direction. So which glide I should give? The superior glide to increase the elevation and depression. Now the second is protraction and retraction. Now with protraction and retraction, the clavicle flips. Means now the concave clavicle come in contact with the convex sternum. Okay. Now, for protraction and retraction, always remember the in which direction our joint is moving, our bone is moving, we give glide on the same direction. Okay. So this is my neutral, and move your arm in the protraction. Protraction is I'm moving my shoulder joint in the anterior direction. Anterior. Now I know that with protraction, my concave part of clavicle come in contact with the convex sternum. So which glide I should give to protraction? My bone is moving anterior and concave is moving, cave is same. So I give anterior glide. With retraction, I give posterior glide to the portion to increase the retraction. Okay. So we talk about the glenohumeral joint. We talk about the sternoclavicular joint. The next is radiohumeral joint. Okay, radiohumeral. Radio means some part of the radius come in contact with the some part of the humeral. So which part? The convex capitulum, the convex, remember the convex capitulum articulate with the concave radial head of the humerus. Concave. So as we know that with at glenohumeral joint, elbow flexion and extension, our forearm is going to move. Our arm is in the same direction. We are going to move in our sorry, arm is in the same level, and our forearm is moving, whether it is flexion and extension. So the concave radial head is moving on convex capitulum. Means concave is moving, cave same. So with elbow flexion, I'm doing the elbow flexion. If the patient is limited elbow flexion, he has only 100 degree of elbow flexion. And you want to increase the elbow flexion, then which glide you should give to the patient? Concave, same. I'm moving my arm in the anterior direction. Okay, I'm moving arm in the anterior direction like this. So which glide? Anterior glide I should give, because I know my radius head is concave. Head is going to move on the convex surface. So with flexion anterior same, and extension, my concave radius is moving in the posterior direction, then I give glide to the posterior, because because in concave rolling and gliding happen in the same direction. And so it is a very simple. Shoulder is opposite. In shoulder joint, everything is opposite. Then we go, then we to the humeroradial joint, where radius is moving, everything in the same, opposite, same. Now, the next joint is proximal radioulnar joint and distal radioulnar joint. So proximal radioulnar joint, what happened? The movement, as the joint suggests, radiohumerus, some part of the radius come in contact with the ulna. So movement happen at the radioulnar joint. So who is convex, who is concave? So now the radius head, you see in the image, the radius head is convex. That is coming in contact with the concave ulna. The ulna is concave and radial head is convex. You can see in the mirror the two joint, radioulnar joint. This is radial head, the convex, and this is ulnar head that is come in contact with the radius, concave. So who is going to move? Radius is going to move on ulna. Convex is going to move on ulna. If convex is going to move opposite, opposite. Rolling and gliding happen in the opposite direction. Now keep your arm in the neutral position and do the pronation. And do the pronation with me. Now, pronation. Okay. So if you see the movement, then tell me which direction your forearm is moving. In which direction your forearm is moving? Your forearm is moving anteriorly. Your forearm